I had a problem with the mic. I don't know if it's working now, but it is what it is. It's not like these are meant to be high quality videos. I'm barely awake. Right, this is where I'm at. I couldn't quite write the tenor story yesterday. I don't know what it is, but I think I'm trying to take it places where it doesn't want to go, and I just can't seem to write it. There's something about like a liminal aspect to it, which I'd like to maybe explore. Yeah, I think I'll try and do that. Um, no, I don't know. Because I can't just say it, because say it like it takes a little bit of a time. Gotta cross that out. It's just not working that way. Uh, I think even as I'm writing this down, I'm thinking to myself, no, this doesn't even work in and of itself. You need to go and find like a core. I don't think I've fully explored the characters yet either. But these are all meant to be like short stories. But then again, 10 pages is enough to explore a character. So you've got to, go and pull a script. Figure out their wants, their needs, their desires. I tried to write another story about Fat Sharon, and I just felt like the narration was off, and like the tone of the piece that I'm trying to go for with the narrative voice, it just doesn't fit because I started writing and it started like being a bit journalistic, or even just like opinionated in a way. I don't really know how to say it. I knew that like that wasn't the story that I wanted to tell. That wasn't the heart of the story, really. And it didn't feel right. I just the delivery of it. When you're like, oh man, I'm, because ultimately when I'm trying to write, I'm trying to deliver this like the way that I think it should be delivered. Not like the best way it can be delivered, but like the way that these stories of these people should be delivered. The oughts, like this ought to do that. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like these people in southern Spain, their stories should have like this narration. It should have this style, this flair to it. The people in New York, their story should have this tone, this to it. And um, I'm just trying to capture that. I still don't know the overarching theme. I'm a bit stuck because I didn't write yesterday, and I think if I don't write much today, I'm gonna put myself in a hole. But I'm asking a lot of myself to write something so big in one day. Um, I think I'm just gonna run with. Maybe I'll try and run back the tenor. I think there's something in that I want to face, but I don't know if I'm entirely capable of doing it right now. So then again, I'm one of those people that like I can't like not finish a book. The only book I've ever not finished was one that I thought I should have read for class, but it turns out I wasn't getting ahead of the module whatsoever. It wasn't on there, and I was like, how is this not on a war module? How? Um, and then so I just dropped it because I had to go read the other stuff, and I didn't want to be like, dwindle and thumb up my ass. So I just dropped it, and it still bugs us, but yeah, I don't want to drop something behind and just forget it. So I think I don't know. I have like it's my, you know, I imagine like your personal beast, right? This rival, this. I imagine like a bear in the wilderness that constant, or like a wolf that constantly follows you and seeks to fight, and you just can't quite get over it. I mean, no, hold on. The best way I can put it is Ahab and Moby Dick, right? That's how I feel it is. It's my Ahab and Moby Dick. Like, I can't quite move forward unless I'm done with it, unless it's done, you know. The only way I can do that is by finishing it, by killing it, essentially. Um, and I don't want to say I'm going to do this today, I'm going to do that today. I think I'm gonna have breakfast. I can't count on what workload I'm gonna do, on how proficient I'm gonna be. I'm gonna read some Blood Meridian. Maybe an hour and a half. Hopefully, I'd like to read quite a lot. But I think maybe reading Blood Meridian isn't necessarily bringing out the best of my writing abilities right now, but it's still a fantastic story. And I think I tend to absorb and reflect what I'm writing at the time I am. So it's not necessarily easy unless I can sit there and think about it, because, Blood Meridian has a lot of liminal aspects in my mind. It has a lot of like undiscovered, unknown. It has a lot of patience to it. And I'm not talking about the word count or anything. It just seems like all these characters in these moments must have patience. They must, like, whenever they're sitting at a campfire or just traveling on horseback, this is something where you're not, you like, your story doesn't have a lot of oomph, a lot of boom boom. It's not fast paced, so you need patience. And I think that's something I can take from it, because these stories that I'm trying to write, they require patience, because I think I'm slowly taking characters through different parts of Newcastle, and then I think about it that way. Hold on, let me write this. I'm trying to maybe expand my scope to actually Newcastle, not just Bangor. I don't know, but that's hard. Maybe I can just go a little bit further out and go to Heaton. Maybe I can. I just need to think. These characters have patience. I'm trying to do that. It's trying to be quite comfortable read. Quite a comfortable read. Enjoyable. Funny. A little bit tragic. Yeah. If I'm writing a short story collection, I feel like I've got to write a tragedy in there. I've got to chuck a tragedy in there. Let me write that down. Maybe like a death of a grandma, someone has cancer, something of someone that I know. Like, all these stories are gonna be based on just what I know. So they are the real manifest in paper instead of out there. But yeah, a little bit of patience in the way I'm trying to visualize. I'm not visualizing it fully, so even then I'm not expecting myself to look back on this and know exactly what I'm saying when I'm trying to formulate, like when a philosopher pulls the hat out of his arse and he says like a word, and it doesn't mean what that word means whatsoever, but he's saying that it means this now, and you realise that he's took the word, had a feeling about what the word means, and just stuck an entire philosophy on it. Yeah, I'll finish the video, then I'll go and get some breakfast, and then I'll read. And I think I was trying to put a couple of hours. That's the issue I think about like reading Blood Meridian is, like, I want to sit down and write right now, but I can't, because, like I said, I've got this Moby Dick in front of us, which is currently the reading that I said I would do in the morning, and I can't quite supersede that. So I'm just gonna hope that in the hour that I'm reading, I'm not fully emotionally swayed by the music I have on the speaker, the story that's in the book. I'm just hoping that I'm gonna read, sit, be at peace, have a eureka or two, and just go after it. Yeah. But if not, I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm just gonna accept it as it is. It's a day after a good day. I can't fully straighten my arm. I mean, it's quite good, but I slept on it wrong. This can be a good day. There's no reason to why it can't be. I know I had a bad dream, but this can be a good day. For everybody else, this can be a good day. And I do believe, which is why it's going to play such a big part in the mental, I do believe that in some ways for it to be a good day, or for me to quench this sort of feeling in my heart, I'm gonna have to take a good leap and smash a good 1,000 or two words out, you know, and be proud and just so tomorrow you'll either see I've done it or I've not. Anything theory wise I need to touch on for the commentary? No, not really. Just in the process of just trying to figure it out. Bye.